something more advanced, perhaps in the sense of spirituality, and awakening would be much more about simply the consciousness, perhaps, or even enlightening. It would be like the
awakening to me is like between being conscious and awake. Awakening is like being aware of things in which plague your society. That's what I was getting at. Basically, just being conscious of wildlife, energy, war. Things in which are really serious that plague humanity and have plagued humanity for millennia. Starvation, slavery on massive scales that still take place. So, I would say...
Yes, because, well, I get your point. It is difficult to average people to even realize the simple existence of these concepts to be enlightened or awakened.
Sure, yeah, and be enlightened, I would say, is to have actually gone through the alchemical process of awakening, which is a scientific process within one's individual body and individual being. If you we were discussing the concept of having you have a certain aura around you, which is just like a bubble around you, having an aura. So I would say there's a lot of people who are awake, which means to be aware. On some level, you have the news media in which perpetrates a lot of lies, and then you have another alternative media channels in which a lot of times often start out really good, like anything else could, but end up losing funding or any number of reasons can go astray, which you've seen time and time again.
Totally, yes.
So everybody's to be awake and to be a kind. That's the difference for me. It's for me. That's my definition of being awake and being conscious.
It makes sense to me. And thanks, yes.
But a lot of people would actually reverse that. A lot of people would say, well, being conscious is actually the opposite. Being conscious of what you buy and what you consume.
Yes.
A lot of people have things reversed.
From their perspective, it is absolutely the materialism will be the only thing valid or that has importance in their life. So is the perspective from where they have the convincement of being totally conscious by being totally immersed in the world and not in them internally as individual spiritual beings. Yes. But it's difficult for the average people. The conditions are very hard, so they only have few options, few time to spend thinking in different things beyond that the daily life and their small community.
Yeah, I think we touched on that.
Yes.
Subject before.
Well, by my perspective, being enlightened, being awakened in this case, from your perspective of being aware of things happening in society and all that. I think that being awakened is having that opportunity to think beyond what is the daily almost robotic life that the average citizen lives in their lives. They perhaps even think that they have a spirituality, and they even perhaps pray, and they go to church, and they even give
Sure.
part of their money to these causes, but they are not really conscious of their spirituality. They are following a kind of ritualistic and
Well, it's handed
a
down from
discipline
childhood. It's handed down from
that
childhood.
have been implanted in them from very young age.
Sure.
So, and they think perhaps that this fulfills their need for spirituality. But there is some other people that is not happy only with this. They need more. They need more answers, and they know that things can be as easy as the religion presents them.
Well, they need to know the truth, but the truth they have to seek for themselves. You can only seek the truth for yourself.
And because it's true, specifically talking about Christianism, Catholicism, that is a recurrent theme in our conversations. I think that because it's perhaps the larger religion in the world, so it's a bigger one. So people do follow what an institution is telling them to follow, but they don't even realize that their indoctrination is far,
which is very
even
serious.
opposite to what even the scriptures tell us about that
Very
being or character, Jesus Christ. Because some teachings of him, for example, he said, "You are like the gods." In church, you go there, and they never repeat that verse. I have went to the church multiple times because of my family, and I still do in social occasions. And never in my life I heard them say, and it's in the scriptures, and many other things like that. He talked about love if he really existed, of course. But this is not what the church spread. They spread fear, they spread guilt, they spread a lot of opposite things.
So it's like New Testament sprinkled with some Old Testament.
Can even realize that they are being in opposition of what Jesus Christ itself.
I also sort of wanted to speak on philosophy a bit, and a lot of, I would say, like what era philosophers I want to say about like Kant, people like that of that philosophical line as well, and how that's sort of like an exoteric teaching as well, and how that's sort of like a religion is philosophy is the idea that a philosopher or a certain philosophical thought is going to save you in some way. I think people have turned to that exoteric teaching as well, and you can add that to the list. That philosophy in itself, as far as like Kant, and even like people, Plato, Aristotle, of course, which was all backed and funded by the Vatican and people of that nature. All the science, all this fiat science that we've been handed, and all this materialism has been handed down directly from the Vatican. Not to say that materialism is bad per se, but there has to be a balance between the material and the spiritual world.
Yeah, people forget about really that Constantine, the emperor of the Roman Empire, when he united his empire, he really edited the scriptures, the Gospels, the everything, and the Bible has a lot of fake information. It has a lot of knowledge also in some passages that can be denied. Some passages I think are true, another totally edited and implanted there to inflict fear in people, and that help the power to be in the power, of course. So it is not to me, Catholic institution it not represents. Perhaps even Christ never existed, but if he did, I think of him more about someone enlightened, someone.
And even a lot of your philosophers would argue with you on that topic vehemently. On that topic, actually, if you brought that up to your average school teacher philosopher, they would argue that subject with you, likely even in a non-rational manner. Sorry, I didn't cut you off.
Yeah, it's true. No, it's okay. It's true about that, and well. It's totally about the. I mean, it was bringing this about Christianity and all that. It's only an example of how people can even think that they have.
Well, I go for that for any exoteric teaching of school thought, whether it's Hinduism or Sufism or Islam, whatever your teachings may be, but if it's exoteric teachings, it's essentially just going through rituals in which other people made for slaves. Go do these rituals, but we'll know the truth up here, but we'll have you thinking that you know something, but you still don't know shit. And that's basically the way I feel that those teachings are the exoteric teachings are. And I just don't pick on Christianity, I pick on all exoteric religions. And I'm not saying there's not beauty in those texts. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that there's not no intrinsic value from reading those texts. I'm not saying that to scrap them and burn the books. I'm saying that can't be the sole primary sources the exoteric teachings, because we're not going to change any manifested reality until the inner manifestation of each individual changes, and that's what people don't get. And they're not going to get that. And that's that's my I'm taking kind of like a fatalistic point of view on that, and I have good reason to
yes, absolutely. Well, yes, I was saying that I see more Jesus Christ like someone enlightened, and even I have read some books about it, and in one of them it was written perhaps in the 90s by a historian. It was a Muslim historian, and the guy recollected some evidence of the real existence of this character, Jesus Christ, and he mentioned his researching and all that was very extensive, and he even found some in the apocryphal texts about Jesus' secret life during the years that the Bible don't speak about it, and tells many things, like he was in different parts of the world of that time, and supposedly what he did was going there, making an exchange of knowledge, and the book said he was in Egypt, that he already was in Egypt being a baby, because his family ran away to Egypt, but he after returned, and during that time, that is between the 12 years to the 33 years, he supposedly traveled even to Europe and to Tibet, the Persian side, and
that's a lot of walking for an individual. So, and a true Jesus Christ wouldn't have to walk. But it was
a lot of time.
Wouldn't have to walk, though.
It was 20 years.
A true Jesus Christ wouldn't have to walk, though, because they'd just be able to teleport.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
According to that, books of J.J. Benitez, in the 80s, he wrote a saga of bestseller, Caballo de Troya, Horse of Troy. I don't know.
You told me in the book.
And this book is about a project of the government of the USA of
Go
traveling
back in time.
and they chosen to go to Jesus Christ's time. And well, it's very interesting actually. But what he did supposedly was going even to all those sites, but to share time with the
See, I compare Jesus
religious
Christ.
parts.
I compare Jesus Christ. I look at Jesus Christ as just another Hindu monk, another yogi. That's just how I look at Jesus.
For Tibetan monks, Jesus Christ was there, and
Sure.
he's what they call
That's just
Maitreya. The Buddha Maitreya
Sure.
is the assignment to Jesus Christ. And there is a peculiarity. Maitreya in Tibet, the temples there,
Like an avatar.
depicts in the temples they have huge images of their Buddhas, even covered with gold and many things, very beautiful. And this Buddha, Maitreya specifically, is depicted with blue eyes. Blue eyes is the only one.
Interesting.
And
Very
can be
fancy.
wrong, but I'm almost sure that it is the only Buddha that is depicted. According to a book that I read in the past, also of spirituality and a travel that someone made to Tibet, and he talked about this. But in that other book, I knew that he was in Tibet and all that. He probably had a kind of technology in those times that we are not aware.
See,
they had.
I can't buy that because I just read about
Even there's something there is something very interesting that can
even in the Bible it mentions it's like people just vanishing in the thin air. The spirit was upon them and they vanished
and
they
pay
travel.
attention to this. If these people, if it's real what this Spanish writer J.J. Benitez wrote in the 80s, if that is not fiction, real, and he seemed to
so
never
he's saying Jesus had some type of technology to travel.
Perhaps it was this technology that they brought to the past that allowed him to do those things.
Okay, so like Jesus Christ was like
the result or this future decision.
Jesus Christ was like a DeLorean.
I don't know. It can be. Or
I like that. Back to the Future. I want to do like a sketch like Back to the Future with like Jesus next to the
well, it's a
car
possibility.
next to the DeLorean.
It's a possibility. It's
what up,
possible.
Jesus? I'm like a DeLorean, bro.
Everything is possible. Everything is possible. So why not? Can be. But if it's this, what the book said, it is a period between 12 years old and 33 years old. It is a long time, almost 21. And this means that perhaps he had a lot of time. In the book, they explain that actually Jesus was a member of a wealthy family.
Yes, I think
and he was not. He was a part of this family, and that they actually was linked with the royal family, and he is named in the Bible to be, of course, linked with King David.
I've heard Jesus was Julius Caesar,
and
well.
Yeah,
it was Jesus Christ, Julius Caesar.
Yeah, I have read about that theory, and well, this is the thing. If he was not. He was in good conditions, and he had a godfather in his family that was a very, very wealthy man. Is what this book said.
So they did a time
travel
car project together.
Perhaps
they built a DeLorean,
or perhaps they just traveled because it were 20
okay, because he had the funds capable.
Yeah, and he had supposedly he had chips to chips for the sea to travel in the sea.
Yeah, you could probably have pretty fast
And
carriage.
his name was Joseph of Arimathea.
Horses.
Joseph of Arimathea.
Okay.
And supposedly this guy even took Jesus even to the British Islands. And there, being Jesus with the Celtic community, Celtic is also accurate to name that culture.
Mm-hmm.
And Druid, he spent time there, is what it said. And remember,